Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Stout, and for my trauma monologue, I'm going to be teaching an adolescent child about seventh grade, 13, 14-ish, about the impacts of trauma. The client is coming to see me because they've felt a little bit of shame and doubt about some of the traumatic experiences that they've been through and what they're suffering and, their behavioral issues and concerns like that. So, and that I'm educating them about the impact of trauma. So, I'm going to start. Um, Hi, welcome to my session. I've heard that there's been a lot of things going on, and you're feeling a lot of different types of ways, and that you feel as though you almost don't deserve to have the feelings that you have. So, I want to first start by saying that what you've been through, no one can tell you that it's not serious, that it's not important, and everybody experiences trauma in different ways, and everyone deals with the things they've experienced in different ways. So, with traumatic experiences, Van der Kolk defines those types of things as chemical balance changing in your brain when you experience a traumatic result. And it can be a one set incident, or it can be, over time, the things you experience and physical neglect and sexual abuse and things like that. They can happen over time, and your body and your brain change because of these experiences. And many times these will cause post traumatic stress disorder and things like that that really internally affect a well being. And no one can ever tell you that your trauma wasn't severe or that you don't remember or you don't understand, because many times with severe trauma impacts, it changes your brain's ability to remember facts and to place things in the proper order and to truly understand the things that you're going through. And it also creates adversity in your reactions to normal everyday life things. So if anybody, makes you feel bad because you react a certain way, it probably comes from something you may not even understand. Some of the experiences you've been through have been so severe that you honestly don't know how to deal with everyday life occurrences, and they create, a difference in the way you respond. So a lot of times it could be a fight, flight, or freeze response where, somebody says something that is a trigger of yours, and you may or may not know that it's a trigger of yours. Um, so in those instances, you may, automatically start trying to hurt people or hurt yourself because that's how you're prepared to deal with it. Or you may freeze up and not be able to respond at all, which, is a scary feeling because you're almost trapped inside of your own thoughts and your own body. Or you avoid. And in some cases, avoidance can be a lot of different things. Avoidance can look like, physically running, or avoidance can almost be running somewhere else to like a different dimension inside your own body and your own self. Um, Sometimes with severe trauma, your brain can split into different pieces, and you can almost disassociate and create your own way to deal with whatever it is that you've been through. You can start to, as we've seen in other clients and through past cases, people create a different world for themselves where they feel safe. Because the main thing with trauma is when you've been through a traumatic experience, you're always looking to find something safe. And a lot of times with trauma that, involves attachment issues or insecure feelings towards others and relationship issues, you've lost that feeling of safety, or you never had it to begin with. And there's no one that can tell you that that's wrong, that it's not okay to feel that way or not okay to respond in any of those ways. The best thing that you can do is learn ways to face those issues or cope with those issues. And with facing those issues, that's not something that anyone can tell you have to do in a certain time period. That's something that, we can sit here for session after session while we talk about different things, we do different types of things, and eventually you come to the point where you're ready to talk about it, or you can even cognitively remember enough to talk about it. Um, or, we start with a project or something that you enjoy, maybe art is your thing, and we can do some art therapy exercises to remember things or to talk about things or to express yourself if that's something you feel more comfortable with. And a lot of times, the way trauma impacts people is different, and the coping skills that they use to face it and get through it is different. And there's no one that can say which coping skill is best for anybody else. And there's no someone who better understands trauma than the person who's been through it and what they've experienced through it. And so with that kind of stuff, there's only one person who can honestly define what's going to help anybody go through the traumatic experiences that they've been through. Um, and as far as, because of the age that you're at moving forward, you're going to want to figure out how to better associate with others and not have to feel withdrawn from the others in your, social groups and social interaction, or your family members and things like that. And you have to figure out how you feel best to do so. If you need a support group in school, if you need a way to talk about things here, if you need a comfort zone in school, a place where you can say, hey, like, I need a few minutes to just breathe and recognize your own triggers and your own, it's a huge part of trauma, is beginning to be able to identify the things that really set you off and maybe connecting the feelings and the behaviors. A lot of times when you react to things and you're just reacting because your body automatically does it, you don't even know why. And so starting to really analyze those pieces and connecting what's going on right now and why do I feel this way right now are huge. And that takes, it's a process. It's a process that a lot of clients take time to go through, just because a lot of the time your body is so prepared to defend itself. And that's what a lot of healing from trauma looks like, is just defense mechanisms to feel safe and secure, and to figure out like exactly how you find safe people for the rest of your life. And that it's okay to yell and scream and get all of your emotions out. And that's not a bad thing. A lot of people associate like, when people go into crisis or people withdraw, or, obviously aggression isn't ideal, but find a way to even almost get out that aggression. Sometimes doing an exercise or yoga or going for a run or hitting a punching bag can help to relieve a lot of the aggression feelings that come from having some kind of trauma in your life. And by being able to get that out through those outlets can maybe help you to provide some kind of stabilization from day to day with triggers and things that, upset you. And some people find it really helpful to, write a journal and say, like, today I felt this way, today I reacted this way. This day I felt this way, so I tried a yoga routine and that helped me. And just to being able to have, a couple of things that you write down on a piece of paper that are your helpful things, even if it's just breathing strategies and techniques that you can identify to help you, feel more in control. Because a lot of times when you're in a triggered situation, in a trauma state, you don't feel in control, and other impulses take over and your fear takes over. And the first place you have to get is feeling safe, feeling that you have enough people around you, or that you're in an environment where you feel safe enough to continue to start trusting on these skills, to continue, start believing that other people are there to help you, and start believing in the therapeutic process. And this is going to come at whatever pace it works for you. It may take, a couple months before you start seeing healing, or it could take weeks before you start to heal. And it's not something that you'll ever forget. It's also not something that's ever going to change, but the way you handle it and the way it goes in the future can change, and the types of control that you exert over it can change. So for someone in your shoes, who's young and wants to understand their own feelings and wants to be able to feel okay and not feel like other people are thinking, you shouldn't have done that based on this, because they don't understand where you're coming from, and they don't have to. You have to figure it out for yourself. And then if you ever feel comfortable, you can open up to like, there's been some reasons that I've reacted and responded in this way and this way, but that's, a complete choice. And hopefully you'll be able to get enough coping skills and tools and mechanisms to helping that you won't have to react that way in the future, and you can grow and learn and change from therapy and from any other kind of skills that you try or practice to help you overcome the things you've been through. So that's the end of what I would say at my monologue for a first opening session. I hope everyone else has a great holiday and a great rest of the semester.